Welcome to Inside the Skev, and I'm your host, Aaron Masliansky. Today, I'm actually going to flip the table on myself, and we have a guest host, Victoria Reeves, who's been on the show. And Victoria, after our episode, asked me, has anyone ever actually interviewed you? And nobody had. And I thought Victoria would be a great host to ask me some questions. So I'm going to pass it off to Victoria.
Okay. Hi, everyone. How's it going? I'm Victoria Reeves. Happy to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. How are you?
First return. I'm good.
You're good.
I'm on the hot seat.
You're on. It's so exciting. Aaron celebrated a birthday, everyone. Let's give him a shout out. Ooh, ooh.
Mm-hmm. It's
so
my
you're
30th
25 again. Now? Yeah. All right. 30th birthday. Looking good. All right. So yeah, I'm super excited to be here and to ask you some riveting and thought-provoking questions and, dig deep into your soul. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Here we go. Okay. So for everyone that is listening, of course, we know that Aaron is the wonderful host of Inside the Skev, but he wears many, many hats, which we're going to explore today. First of all, Aaron is a real estate broker for Dreamtown Realty, which is located here in Evanston, correct? Mm-hmm. They have other branches around the city?
Yeah, there's branches in, the main one is in Lincoln Park. There's Lincoln Square, Edgebrook, and Evanston.
Okay.
We work all around, we're licensed all to work throughout Illinois, but that's where our primary areas are.
Got you.
Yeah.
And you primarily cover Evanston and Skokie, or also like Rogers Park, North Side of Chicago?
I mean, my marketing, obviously here with Inside the Skev, Skokie, Evanston, I do most of my business in Skokie and Evanston, but I will work throughout the area. I mean, I think the furthest north I've gone is Libertyville,
Wow.
and furthest south, like near UIC, I've done.
Okay.
But it's on the particular situation, but my expertise really is right around here, Skokie, Evanston, or Rogers Park, Lincolnwood. I mean, Wilmette, I've got actually a couple listings coming on in Wilmette, so
Okay.
definitely know a lot of those areas. But Skokie, Evanston is the heart.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we're going to jump into that for sure.
Sure.
I would like to read a quote that I read about you, one of your Google reviews.
Okay.
Well, yeah, so many fantastic
I forgot about
reviews.
those.
It was hard to choose. In a time of unprecedented online access and impersonal communication, Aaron differentiates himself from other agents by providing a personal, bespoke touch. He is on top of the latest real estate technologies, insights, and trends, and will put your needs first. So that is a fabulous review, 100%.
Yeah.
And my question to you is, tell us how you blend your personal touch, your technological expertise, and your industry knowledge when you're helping clients find the perfect home.
Well, it's a lot of different things there. I mean, the first thing is I put myself in everybody's shoes. And, you have to empathize for what people are going through. Buying a home or selling a home is, it can be a very stress-provoking, triggering experience. And, first things first, I want to be able to listen to people. I want to be able to pay attention to what their needs are and go with that type of flow.
Sure.
So I really do that. And, on top of that, there's a lot of different technology products that are out there in the marketplace that, not everybody knows how to use. You've got to get into it. But I've always been one to, be into computers. I mean, I think my family had an AT&T 8086 computer PC when I was, a little kid, 5 or 6 years old. My dad, or my grandfather got it for my family, and my dad would use it for work. Wasn't connected to the internet or anything else. Sure. But I started to really get into it and learn how to use it, and DOS and all that. And then when I was 13, I got a Gateway 2000 computer, and a bunch of my friends did too. And we all started to really get into it. And from there, I really just learned a lot about how all these things work. And so I've continually kept up with this, and it's fun for me. It's almost like when I'm starting to use different technology products, I like to test it out, see how it works. So I'm constantly refining what I'm using, but whether it be getting electronic signatures from people or doing online presentations, like some of the things I like to do is when I do like a market analysis, if the people are comfortable with it, I'll send it to them online, and they'll have the market analysis. They'll have live data about the market that they're looking in. I'll provide like a net estimate if they're selling of what they think they should expect to get, and that's through some different software programs that I use. So I like to be very transparent and provide a lot of information. So to reduce that anxiety that people may have. If you have the information, that's a lot less stressful than not knowing the unknown.
So in a sense, you're an educator.
100%. It's all about education
Sure.
and holding people through that process. I view my role as more of like a quarterback or a project manager, because there's a lot of different things going on in a real estate transaction, and it's all about finding the right people to help in all the different aspects. I'm not an expert on let's say doing a mortgage or I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a home inspector. But I can coordinate all that, and I have a really good understanding of all those things, so I can provide a lot of good, feedback and to my client as a trusted professional.
So actually, you wonderfully just jumped ahead to another question that I was going to ask you, which is that you have your bachelor's and your master's in urban planning from U of I Urbana-Champaign, and you also worked as a real estate developer, so this is a pretty wide range of experience, and you're certified as a real estate negotiation expert and a seniors real estate specialist. So give us an idea of how you blend all of that different education and skills and the diverse background into the process of serving your clients as a real estate broker. So,
all those different experiences come into play on different levels throughout each transaction or, when I'm working with people. So, sometimes people may have a question of, hey, can I do this to the house if I bought it? And, if I was an intern at the Village of Skokie. A lot of the people that worked there when I was there in 2003 are still there. So I could make a call and find out what the answer may be or have an understanding of how that process may work. Working for a developer gave me an incredible amount of experience. I mean, I worked for a man named Tom Rozak. He's an architect, developer, expert in construction, and he was based in Evanston and developed a lot of different buildings in Evanston and actually in downtown Chicago, and we were doing stuff in Arizona. And now he's doing some apartment buildings in downtown Chicago, and he did an office building. But I got thrown to the fire. And first day, and I'm like reviewing construction contracts and trying to put together a binder for the inspecting architect to release a multi-million-dollar construction loan. My background's in urban planning, not in real estate finance, and I had to think on my feet.
Right.
And going through that experience and everything else that I was involved in everything from the business. It gave me a really comprehensive view of how real estate works, whether it be the financing, the marketing, the construction of it, the closings. I handled, managed the whole process. So now when I'm doing a, single house or a condo, I know what to look for. I've saved my certain clients from things where the wool is being pulled over their eyes, and I can figure it out and, save them, considerably, whether it be money, time, anything. Energy.
Stress.
Yes. So it comes
valuable.
into play. Yeah, it comes into play a lot. And with urban planning, I mean, that's, I've always had a fascination with just city planning and development, and it gives me just an idea of where things may come, how things may change, and give a unique perspective to my clients.
Sure. And do people ask you questions like, where do you see Skokie or Evanston or Skevanston in the next 10 years?
For sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I was...
where do you see Skokie and Evanston in the next 10 years? I'd love to know.
Yeah, that's a good question. Skokie... obviously there's different parts to everywhere there.
Right.
Downtown Skokie, let's talk about for a minute.
Yeah.
I think that there's tremendous opportunity going on there. I think that there could be a lot of momentum there. People want to see, really cool things there. And I think there's certain catalysts that have taken hold of that area already.
Sorry, just for the listeners, let's clarify. Would that be like Oakton? What do you consider to be downtown Skokie?
I would consider Oakton, Skokie Boulevard,
Sure.
to Maine, to a few maybe Floral or a few blocks west of Lincoln.
Okay.
And you look at, like, in the heart of downtown Skokie, there's new construction, single-family houses, townhouses that have been going up that are really beautiful, actually. A very new urbanist type of feel.
Right.
And then you've got they're talking about a new hotel on Oakton. You of course
Really?
have and I
not
think
know.
that will bring more people for business. Ignite Gaming is on Skokie Boulevard, who I've had on the show, and that is the coolest video game place that I've ever walked into.
Sure, right there.
Yeah, there's probably more things that are going to be going on right around there. There's new apartments being built there. And then you look at, like, Sketchbook Brewery, or Sketchbook Brewing Company, who's also been on the show. They're going to open up a second facility, a tap room, and also they're going to have a production facility on Main Street, right by the train, which is right by a bike path.
Right.
And you've got the Illinois Science and Technology Park. I mean, so
Which
there's
is amazing.
It's amazing,
Yeah.
and it's very well supported by the state, by Skokie. And there's all these catalysts going on there, and it's beautiful, and you've with the bike path, and you've got restaurants that are opening up, and you have coffee shops, and I think that there's a lot that can take place there. So when I talk to clients, some clients that bought a condo right around there in 2019, and I was easily able to talk about all the great things that are going on and why this is a great opportunity.
I know. And what, I don't know if you know the actual statistics on this, but would you say that a large percentage of residents in Skokie are commuters into Chicago, or not necessarily?
I don't know the statistics.
The numbers, yeah. But
I
just in
certainly could
general.
get it, but I do think that a lot of people, the way that Skokie is that it is relatively affordable.
Right. And you have a little more breathing room. That's how I always feel when I go out there, compared to Evanston, which is getting...
Well, it's because it was mostly
more
built
populated.
Post-World War II, 50s and 60s.
Okay.
And Evanston, I love
The
Evanston.
urban planner has joined us.
Yes.
Bring him in. Tell us.
I mean,
It's
Evanston is
fascinating.
older,
Yeah.
in certain areas.
Yeah.
But Skokie is, halfway in between downtown Chicago and, jobs in, say, Deerfield, Northbrook,
I
like a
gotcha. So you
Walgreens
could go
or one
that
of those.
way.
You can go both ways.
Either
So
way,
if you're
right.
a dual income family and one person works in downtown and one person works up north or in Skokie or Evanston or wherever it may be, it's a convenient spot.
Exactly.
You've got the CTA, you've got easy access to get to the Metro if you want to take it in Evanston or in Morton Grove.
True.
Of course, the Edens Expressway. So there's a lot of transportation.
there.
You're right there. You're everywhere there.
And for people who might be listening from out of town, the CTA is Chicago Transit Authority, and you can take a train from downtown Chicago all the way to Howard, which is the end of the line, and then you transfer to the yellow line, correct, to
Well,
Skokie?
the yellow is Skokie. Yep.
Yeah, or the purple to Evanston.
Right.
So
Or the
whole-
red downtown.
Or the red downtown. So the whole journey door to door, say from that science park to downtown Chicago,
It's probably about
35, 40
30
minutes?
30 to 45 minutes.
It's not
I'd say.
bad.
Not bad at all.
It's not bad at all. And it's $2 and I think 75 cents.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
You can't beat it.
It's, literally.
Yeah.
Okay. And
so
then,
you've got Skokie and you've got different areas. You talk about Skevanston.
exactly. That was my next question.
I mean, Skevanston is the 60203 zip code, what I'd consider. And there's going to be, a condo project built at Church and Crawford. I think that'll be a really good catalyst to the area, too. I think that there's a lot of people that will, buy places in there.
Yeah.
And then you've got a coffee shop that's opening up in the shopping center next to Kaleidoscope Dance. It's called Yimmy's, who I hope to
Really?
have on the show. Yeah.
Over there?
Yeah, where
What?
Endler's used to be.
That's cool.
It's very cool.
Wow.
And, you've got, a church in East Prairie. You've got different businesses over there. I've had Sutton Studios on. There's a yoga place there. There's, a lot of different things going on throughout the area.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Evanston is just a wonderful town.
What can we say about Evanston?
Yeah, and
the whole show could be Evanston.
I love Evanston. I mean, I would come here all the time as a teenager because there were things to do.
Yeah.
I lived in downtown Evanston for several years. I live in Skevanston now, but it's not too far.
Yeah.
And you just keep seeing more and more happen. I mean, what's so great about Evanston is you have so many different unique neighborhoods. So it's not just the downtown. It's not just Southeast Evanston. It's not Central Street. There's all these places, and it just I think continually becomes more desirable. I mean, you just have really cool businesses. You have the North Shore Center for Performing Arts is going to be coming to.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's coming, next year, I think?
Yeah. It's going to be on Church Street.
Yeah.
You've got, new types of living places, apartment buildings.
Well, and a real awareness about like mixed, what's the proper term? Is it like mixed income housing, or making sure that there's housing for people of all different income brackets in Evanston? It's a very conscious movement that is happening here that many people are involved in, because Evanston is a pretty expensive place to live for many people.
Oh, very.
Myself included.
Depending on where you are, there is affordable housing in Evanston. I'm not going to say that everything is. You've got to be a millionaire to live here.
No, not by any means.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in West Evanston. They call it the West End. What? Now they're trying to make it like all trendy. But there are art galleries over there, yoga studios for sure. We have our fair share of cafes, and I just want to say they just started selling organic eggs at my local grocery store, which is both terrifying and exciting. So I'm hoping that it will stay the way that it is, which is affordable for sure. And we have a lot of diversity, not just like racially, but economically in terms of education, background, culture. It's definitely a melting pot for sure.
It is.
Yeah, and Skokie too, obviously.
I mean, I think both towns. I mean, when you look at the different languages spoken in the public schools.
True.
There's over 60 different languages in most of these schools, and you just have people from all over. And I think by having such a wealth of diversity of people from around the world, we all get to learn from each other, and that's how we become smarter, more innovative, and creative.
Exactly. Okay, thanks for coming. No, just kidding. The show's over. We covered everything because Aaron is brilliant, and he's telling us everything that I was going to ask. I'm going to circle back to Skokie for 2 seconds, and the 2-minute video that's on the Dreamtown site, which is, what is the actual website? Is it www.dreamtown.com?
So Dreamtown's website is dreamtown.com, and it was actually just completely redone. It's a beautiful website, and if you want to search for real estate, I have not found a better site, because one thing that's really cool about it is that it has like natural language search functions. So you could say, 3-bedroom house in Skokie, 350 to 450, and it'll pull up.
Right.
So you could look on there. I have Masliansky.com, and I also have real estate search on Skevanston.com. But the Dreamtown website is dreamtown.com.
So there's all different ways.
All different ways to get there. Yeah.
And all the properties that you're currently listing.
Yeah,
yourself.
they're all there.
So I watched your video, which I loved. Aaron has this wonderful 2-minute video. It's precious, and it starts out with a shot of Aaron and your son. Well, I don't know your son's name. I'm sorry.
My son's name is Joey.
Is that okay to say?
Yep.
Okay, Joey.
And my daughter's in the video too. Her name is Sophia.
Okay, so we've got the family on there,
and my wife Stacy.
and we've got Stacy. Hi, Stacy. Shout out. So. Great scene with Joey, yes, and you in King's Cuts haircut shop over in Skokie, and there's footage of your son getting his haircut, and then you do a blurb about growing up there and the generations, and I'll let you take it from there. But my question is, like, why did you decide to start with that particular scene?
Because I think it really reflects my connection to the community. And, you talk about the barber shop, and it's like the neighborhood psychologist, because you sit down and you just start talking.
True.
And, King's Cuts has been there for 60 years. Yeah. And Mickey and Liz have just been part of my life, and they're a part of a lot of people's lives. And I think that when you're looking for a real estate agent, you want somebody who is part of that community, who can introduce you to that community. And what better than showing this independent barbershop that's been there forever,
Right.
and has such a special place in my heart. Cutting my hair, my son's hair for the first time, being, involved with our family for so long, and, knowing everybody. Mickey even worked on my great-grandfather's car when, back in the 70s, there weren't as many people getting haircuts, so he needed to make some extra money.
Yeah, part-time job.
Yeah, and he would go to people's houses and fix their car, or they'd bring it over, and he'd take it and as like a part-time thing to make ends meet back then. So he's been involved with so many generations of my family.
Right.
It was a natural.
Well, and we talked last time when I was a guest on your show, and I think that I mentioned that I lived in Japan for 4 years, and I've traveled a lot. And it seems like, especially if you travel internationally, people will always say, like, Americans move all the time. Mm-hmm. Aside, like, A, everyone in Chicago has a gun. That's the one thing that they used to ask me. I'm like, no, we don't. And B,
Al Capone.
Yeah, we're all Al Capone. And B, like, how many houses have you lived in, and do you move all the time? It's a stereotype, but it is kind of true. As a nation, I think that we are extremely mobile,
right?
And which would have, there are assets and liabilities to that. But I guess my question is, in terms of people that are moving into the Skevanston area, do you find that like, how do I say this? The history, okay, and the generational history and your experience of living in the area for so long, and also the fact that there is this very vibrant and thriving community here that people consciously and actively cultivate. Like, my husband went to Evanston Township High School, and the big joke in our family is, like, when he walks down the street, he's like the Queen of England with the wave, because he knows everybody, which is so funny to me because I don't have a town like that. Anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
But where I grew up, like, it's not the same. Like, people moved and they left. So there is a certain zeitgeist, if I could use that word, in this area that's I think it's very unique. And I wonder if people, clients that you're working with that come from out of town, if that's a draw for them, or maybe they don't even know that it exists until they get here and you introduce them to it. But do you understand what I'm saying?
I totally do, and
Yeah.
I think it stems from Chicago,
Okay.
because when somebody from Chicago is talking about Chicago, we have such ridiculous pride in our town. So it extends to Skokie and Evanston. We're all part of Chicago. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And I think that when you dial it into Skokie and Evanston, if you've been here for a long time, you really get to know your neighbors. And I think people, there's a lot of people that move from out of town to come here.
Right.
And it's been, from my experience, from what I see, people are very friendly and welcoming, and they make a whole new community. I mean,
Exactly.
So we send our kids to Walker Elementary School, which is inside the Skev.
Right.
And
literally.
Yeah, and they have a lot of different, parent activities and, parties and things like that, and the kids all meet each other. And most of these people, actually, who are in the school, I did not know before. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people move to the area, or some move back, but it doesn't matter if they've been here for 5 years or 25 years.
Right.
I think that people really there's just a vibe to the area where people get to know each other.
Well, and I like that you said that, because it's sort of like, well, you're here now.
Right.
And I've lived on the West Coast before, where people are like, well, who's your family? Like, where are you from? Like, I had to have like a genealogy chart just to say hi to somebody at Starbucks.
Yes.
Like, dude, like, I've been here 6 years. Doesn't that count for something? Like, when I was in Seattle, it was a whole different feeling, like night and day. I lived there for 6 years. I'm a pretty friendly gal, for those of you who don't know me. And like, I left with 2 friends, not for lack of trying.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like the Chicago thing, it's real. Right?
It is
It's not
real.
just the stereotype. It's actually very real.
It's Midwest hospitality.
Thank you. Yeah, and genuine. And people would give you the shirt off their back and try to find that point of communication and similarity, even in the elevator. Like, wow, it sure is cold out today. Just making conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not everywhere.
It's not everywhere,
I've
but
traveled, and yeah,
I think that
it's special.
it's special, and one example tied to this show is the amount of people that I have on. Most of them I didn't know before.
fabulous.
Yeah, some people I've reached out to have been gracious to come on. Some people have reached out to me, and I'm flattered beyond belief.
Yeah.
So it's just how the community is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so one other technical question, which is this. You said on Facebook, Chicago is the best bargain in the world for real estate.
Yeah.
And I want to know why.
Well, if you look at what our prices have been in Chicago compared to when the downturn started and where we are now, we basically we're back to where we were.
Okay.
Which is crazy because that was like 12 years ago.
Right, yeah.
And the rest of the country, you look at places like the coasts, they've skyrocketed in prices. I mean, people in San Francisco are living in boats because they can't afford to own a home.
Right.
You look at New York, the prices are crazy. So, Chicago prices really haven't risen, and you have a great city, a globally connected city with large corporations, local independent business, tons of opportunity. Technology firms, transportation. You have one of the most connected airports in the world.
True.
You have all these great things.
22 major museums.
Yeah, such culture.
Right.
And you can't
7
believe.
nights a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have a huge body of fresh water
Exactly.
that is right outside our door, and we don't have hurricanes.
And we don't have hurricanes, and we don't have earthquakes, as
right.
far as I know.
I
think there was
remember
one in
one.
the 80s or something.
Yeah.
It was like a level 2.
Yeah, but
yeah.
nothing major like that.
No.
So it's like you look at
It's true.
what potentially can happen with climate change. I don't want to be on the coast necessarily.
Right.
And here we're in the heartland, and why it would make so much more sense that if the values were higher. I think one of the reasons why they're not is because the concern with the pension crisis in the state of Illinois.
Okay.
And taxes being higher, but we've got to figure that out, absolutely, and
Sure.
I think that will help alleviate concerns that people have, but the fundamentals are there, and as time goes on, I think that people will realize that Chicago is a great value, and it's a great place to live, it's a great place to do business.
Sure. And, I was having one of my famous hot tub chats the other day and complaining about the cold weather. And then one of my friends who's 90 said, listen, if we lived in a city that had all these amenities, but it was on the coast, we'd all be paying double for everything that we do, like housing, food, gas, which is true. And they were like, so if you have to put a coat on to watch your car, get over it, which I thought was really good advice.
It is. You're right.
But it's actually very true.
Yeah.
So that's the one sacrifice that we make.
Yeah, I don't like
that
the
we
cold.
do have winter, but other than that, it's fabulous.
I think the
Just have to
key
get the right clothes.
I think the right mix is to be based here and travel to some of these warmer places when you can.
That's what I'm working on.
Yes.
I'm looking for a sponsor actually to help pay for that. So feel free to contact me.
Sure.
A benefactor would be great. All right, so we are going to circle now to Inside the Skev. Okay,
Sure.
And your wonderful show that we are on right now. And when I was a guest on Inside the Skev a couple weeks ago, we talked about being a multi-potentialite, which is a person who has many gifts and interests and manages to incorporate all of their passions into various forms of self-expression. And I'm starting to think that you are a multi-potentialite too, which is why we're now officially friends. So for folks who are just tuning in or new to the world of wonderful and wild world of Aaron Masliansky, here's a guy who wears so many hats. We talked about it before. We're going to jump into another hat, which is, in addition to connecting families with fabulous homes as a realtor, Aaron has created and produces this very podcast, Inside the Skev, which is getting noticed in Chicago and beyond, which is super exciting. Now, I was checking out your LinkedIn page where you identified yourself as a community storyteller. Love that. Great expression. And that's my next question. What does that mean to you to be a community storyteller?
Well, I think that there's something really cool about being able to share someone's story or to be able to share your own story.
Sure.
People want to have purpose in what they're doing and feel validated about it, and let other people know about it so it can continue and improve. So, I I've been going around and talking to people who I think, are, and there's a ton more out there of people in this area who I think would be great to share their stories.
Sure.
But I think that we've been able to start to tell what this community is like by talking to people and by having these conversations and by telling the people's story, I'm telling the community story. And to tie it back a little bit to the real estate, when you're moving into an area, you want to know what the community is like.
Right.
And sure, you can go and read things online or you can look at statistics, but to hear the people's stories really gives you a sense of what is going on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So originally I started this as, more of a marketing piece for my real estate and, as a give back to some of my former clients to, promote their what they're doing,
their businesses,
yeah,
projects.
And I still do that. And obviously, I think it's a great way to help my real estate business. But I've truly discovered a passion I didn't really know I had of sharing people's stories and doing these interviews, and it's just so much fun.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, in a sense, it's almost like you're a cultural anthropologist. When you look at the list of all the different people that you've had on here and the way that you're representing so many voices, especially without getting political, but in a time of a lot of siloing, yes, and separation, I don't know if that is one of your intentions. Let's talk about that. But you've definitely been, I think it is, definitely been very successful at providing this platform for discourse of many different voices and presenting them in a very neutral, open, embracing way of like, hi, who are you? What's your story? Tell us your story. And not having any kind of a slant in your own delivery.
I don't have a slant in my own delivery. I want people to be able to share what they want to share. And I think that a lot of things in our current society make things divisive, where people want to stay there in their own silo. And I think when you don't know your neighbor, you have fear.
Right.
And if you can get to know each other, you can realize that you have a lot of commonalities between each other. So I've made it a point to reach out to people who are not in my sphere, who I've never met, and get to know them and make a real connection. I mean, doing these episodes, interviewing people, sitting here for an hour or so with somebody and really getting to know someone, it's a really great connecting piece.
Of course, yeah.
So, I've tried to have people from, multi-backgrounds. A lot of people I've had on are first-generation immigrants to the United States, let alone the Skev. And I think that it's important to show why they came here, what they do, and what they bring from their culture and enhance and mix in with what we have going on here in this community.
Sure.
Whether you move from Iowa or you move from Cambodia,
Exactly.
You're all bringing something here, and we're all making it our community
Together.
Yes.
I assume that you have attended the Skokie Festival of Cultures at the Oakton Community Center.
I actually, I have not.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
okay.
and I need
Everyone,
to.
It's in May. It's fabulous. Well, because
maybe I have years ago.
maybe
but
you
I have. Yeah.
What is it? Oakton and you know where it is. The community center.
It's at Oakton Pool, Oakton Park.
Exactly. So I go to that every year.
I will be going this year.
It is fabulous. I'm sorry to put you on the spot there.
It's okay.
I guess I just thought you guys would go, but
No.
it's marvelous because they do exactly what you're doing, but in a different way in terms of they have dance performances, they have music performances, they have from all different. I sit there in the front row and I cry every time. I'm just like, oh, this is so beautiful. We are the world. I mean, it is magical.
Yeah.
And everyone has like their traditional costumes, and then they have like they have the flags of all the different countries that are represented in Skokie. It's marvelous.
Yeah.
It's really great, and they have a lot of kids groups performing. They have hands-on art workshops. No, I do not work for the Skokie, the city of Skokie, but it is amazing. And it's another representation and iteration of what you're doing here in the show.
Yes.
But through the performing arts.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's
I
exciting.
think it's great.
Yeah.
I I can't wait to go.
Yeah. I think it's May 31st, somewhere around there. But
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. So that is fantastic. Okay, so I love that you you basically led into my next thing that I was going to talk with you about, which is you Inside the Skev was published. An article was published about you and your show in the Chicago Tribune.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Wow, super exciting and very awesome. And you said, I think it's good for people within the community to know the stories of their neighbors. I think that a lot of times there's fear of your neighbor because of the unknown, and I think that pervades a lot in our current society. It's good for people to know who's there and to know their story and why they do what they do and to really understand each other. So to me, I think that this encapsulates your why. I think this is your driver as a person. And would you agree with that?
Yeah. I think, it's when you see people fighting all the time and things aren't getting done and there's so much hate and we're all on the same team, it's really depressing. And I feel like it's, they always ask, like, what did you do to stand up? What can you do to make things better?
Right.
And I feel like this is what I'm doing. I think that this is a driver and a passion for me. Another thing is just I think that this country in general represents great hope throughout the world. And I think that by showing that we have acceptance for people around the world and are welcoming, it makes the world a better place. It makes people friendlier, hopefully prevents war and hate, and in the end of the day, makes the country much stronger. I think America is not a place that is just people fear us because of our military. There's carrot and stick, and part of it is our culture, our freedom, our ingenuity. So I think that we've somewhat lost that a little bit when we fight each other.
Sure.
When you're divided, you can be conquered. And I think by doing things, by bringing people together in a positive nature, we have a lot more potential as a human race. Look at. We started going to space, in the 1950s. We're on the moon in the 60s, and we're doing great work in exploration and whatnot. But if we devoted our time and effort and resources to continuing, going out into space or learning more science, which we do, and I think that it's so important, instead of all this, fighting all the time over the same arguments that have been persisting for millennia.
Sure.
Imagine what we could do as a people.
Sure.
As a not just America, the world.
Yes. Collectively.
Collectively.
Yes.
So I want people to join together and be friends.
I totally understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense, and it's almost like the pebble in the pond kind of an image, right? Where it's like it starts with you. It starts with your block and your town and your community and the state and the nation and the world.
Correct.
Right? And it's all together.
It is all together.
I believe that.
Yeah, and especially nowadays because information is instantly shared throughout the globe. Mm-hmm. I traveled this past summer to Southeast Asia, and it was an incredible experience for me to, in one respect, just to be on the other side of the world. And I was conducting business, doing real estate deals. I had some people helping me on the ground here, but I was still able to be in communication all the time, and even do one of the podcasts out there.
Right, I heard it. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
Your voice was so excited. You're like, hi.
I know.
You were in Saigon? Is that right?
When they did the podcast, it was Bangkok, I was in Saigon. But it's, it just shows you the world is a highly connected place. So even if we do something, here, it can affect the whole world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's just leads wonderfully into my next question, which is about all of your volunteer work. And so let's just talk about, okay.
I got a few things going on.
I know. This man never sleeps. It's true. I've got 75 pages of content here that I'm referring to. It's very exciting. You said, again, that you're deeply passionate about world issues, and that is obvious by everything that you're saying right now, and all the different organizations that you volunteer with and for and work with. And I would love for you to elaborate more on that. So let's jump into July 2019. There's a picture of you at Independence Park in Saigon, and you were representing two groups on that tour. Is that correct?
Well, I went with the Chicago Association of Realtors to Thailand in July, and that was part of their a trade mission through the Global Real Estate Council that they have, and that is basically a whole thing to connect realtors, real estate professionals around the world. So if, let's say, somebody here wants to invest globally, I have a good understanding of the place and can refer you to a trusted partner, because you're going around the world, you don't know who you're dealing with. It's good to have some firsthand knowledge.
Sure.
Vice versa, if somebody's looking to invest in the Chicagoland area, I could help people with that too. So that's the whole point of it, and to have commonality with license law, just how the modus of operation for realtors. So that's why we were there. And while we were out there, I was thinking, my God, I'm so close to Vietnam, and Vietnam holds such a important place in American history, especially having grown up in the 80s. It wasn't that long after the war ended, and you hear about it all the time. And I really wanted to see what it was like. And I said, you know what, I'm going to skip the last day of this trade mission and take a flight over to Ho Chi Minh City, or everyone there calls it Saigon.
On your own?
Yeah,
Just
on my
your
own.
Mm-hmm.
I went on my own. I had a tour guide meet me in the morning at the hotel, and we did like a half-day tour. And
Nice.
I took this shirt from the Chicago Council on Global Affairs, where I'm a young professional ambassador, and deeply committed to that organization. I think it's wonderful. Because of everything that they do and how it aligns with my worldview. And I took had the tour guide take a picture of me outside of Independence Park, and that was the former palace of the South Vietnamese president. Oh. It was, I couldn't believe I was there.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
It was just, it was mind-blowing. And even going to their, I went to the War Museum there,
wow.
And that was, it was probably one of the, I don't know. It was a tough day seeing everything that happened, and there's almost like a guilt of what had happened because it traumatized people in Vietnam. It traumatized people in the United States. It was just a horrible experience that happened, and I wasn't even alive when it happened. Right. But I'm an American, and you go there and you see that, and you just have a deep sense of sadness for what had happened, but it was really great. It was one of the best days of my life.
Being there,
yeah, just to experience that and all the different things I did. It was just amazing. Mm-hmm. But it reminds you of the damage of what war can bring, and sometimes war is necessary, unfortunately. But anything that can be done to avoid it should be.
Sure. It sounds like that was a watershed moment for you, standing there and thinking about everything up until that point and maybe moving forward. So did that change you, that trip? Do you feel like you have a different direction now after coming home?
No, it didn't. I've had a large interest in global affairs for a long time.
Sure.
And really it's, being in a formative time of my life when 9/11 happened.
Right.
I was a sophomore in college,
yeah.
And I was at some fraternity event the night before, and I was up all night. And I got up for class, and my dad's calling me, and he said, "Turn on the TV." I'm like, "What?" What happened? Come on. He's like, "Turn it on." I turn on the TV, and the first tower was hit. I'm like, "Oh my God!"
Right.
And that shakes your worldview.
Everything.
Yeah, I think I went a little nuts. It shows you how we're not impenetrable, and things can happen, and you have to be you have to be active. You have to have a voice. It's very important to have a voice, which is one of the reasons why I have this show, to give people voice. But I, was still very interested in that. I, was getting a degree in urban planning, and then 2003 rolls around, and we're about to go to war with Iraq. So I took a class in energy and security in the ACTIS department, which is the program in arms control, domestic and international security. And that was unbelievable, powerful for me to learn all about that. And then I decided to do my master's with a focus on international development. So after graduating, I thought either I'm going to go maybe work for USAID or one of these types of NGOs, or something in that realm, or I'm going to go work in real estate development because I thought that was a very creative thing, and I like it. My grandfather was a developer, and I thought, well, whatever I get the best opportunity in, I'll take.
Sure.
I happened to get a job with the developer in Evanston, and it was a great opportunity, and I went with it.
Sure.
But I always had that passion. So, 2016, I decided finally to go to an event from the Chicago Council on Global Affairs, and I heard Gary Kasparov speak there about winter is coming, and then I just got hooked, and I started getting into it. So,
what does that mean? Winter is coming.
His book is all about how what had been going on with Russia and their incursions into Crimea or Georgia before that and all that. And it was before they, basically interfered with our election.
I was going to say, how prophetic, in 2016.
Yeah. And Gary Kasparov is the master chess player, but he's also a human rights activist.
Interesting.
And it inspired me. So going to Vietnam is all part of that. And, going on the mission, and I'm pushing into this. I think that it's incredibly fascinating to me, and I think that if you put effort into things, you can do unbelievable things. You have that vision, you could do it. And I've sat in rooms with people that I am like, what am I doing here at the Chicago Council? Or the fact that I was in Vietnam and some of these places, a few years ago that never would have been a possibility. So it's like I just want for me.
Yeah.
It just didn't even cross into the realm of my imagination.
Exactly.
So it's just a validation of that, and it's a beginning.
Yeah. I like to equate it with we had talked earlier about this whole concept of just jumping into life with both feet and not being afraid, right? And then trusting that there is some sort of a greater plan, whatever your worldview is on that, but that, that like everything's happening for a reason, and building up until these moments where you say, okay, now what's my next step? I don't know, but I'm going to trust that there is a next step, and that this step is going to incorporate and integrate everything that I am and everything that I know and everything I've learned that I can bring to my next chapter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the way I view it actually isn't that everything happens for a reason.
Okay.
I don't.
You don't believe that?
No.
Tell me.
I don't think that there's fate.
Okay.
I think that there's a multitude of opportunities and way things can go.
Sure.
And I'm lucky enough to have the mental capacity to recognize when things, when there's an opportunity in front of me and how to take it.
Sure.
And I think that if you have that vision of where you're going, it makes it easier to make those decisions that go towards that vision.
Sure.
So, I think that that's how I look at it, and it's less scary to me because I'm not thinking, well, superstitiously about what can happen. What do I have to do in order to make that happen? It's okay. This is where my vision is. These steps get me there. Mm-hmm. And it's, one thing that I read a book by David Allen, who has this whole system called Getting Things Done. And it's all about checklists and organization. And, as a kid, I was not organized.
Okay.
My locker.
Was anybody? I don't know.
I don't know, but my locker was always so messy that twice
Messy.
a year my mom would come and help me clean it out, and my friends would always joke around with me
With the
about
big
it.
garbage bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in college, my roommate Steve, he was super clean and neat, and I took up on that. And then I read this book before my daughter was born, and it helped me organize my thoughts and clear, and so I can do a lot of different things because
Right.
I have good systems of organization.
Sure.
I think that's the key to be able to do a lot for me.
Yeah.
So that's been helpful in getting me to where I'm hoping to go.
Sure. And I think that what I meant by everything happens for a reason is let's take it out of some sort of spiritual realm and take it more into the professional realm and the personal
Sure.
interest realm of sometimes like opportunities come my way where I'm just like, why am I even doing this thing that I'm doing right now? I don't even know, but it's like hanging out of the back of a dragonfly. It's just like, okay, Victoria, yes, sure, why not? And then I'm, halfway through the journey on the dragonfly. I'm like, oh, this is why this opportunity came my way. So that's what I wonder. Like, have you had moments like when you're interviewed at the Chicago Tribune or when you're in Saigon, where you're just like, wow, I had no idea that all these things that happened would lead me to where I am right now, having this experience I'm doing right now, and who knows where it's going to take me next.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I meant.
It's like
Does that make sense?
I definitely get goosebumps.
Yeah, because it's exciting.
Yes.
But you're open to it. Let's say that.
Yeah, totally open to it. And
Not everybody is.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
you.
I just want to take advantage of the opportunity I have here being on this earth.
Exactly. Which leads to my next question.
Yeah.
Your children.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a son, as parents, we think about our kids. You're pretty young to be thinking about legacy, perhaps, but I think that, especially when they're sleeping and you're looking at them, you just think, okay, this is the world that I want to leave for you, and these are the messages that I want you to have, like the takeaways that I want you to have. So, like, if you could, figure out or just state in some words the messages that you would want your children to have or to understand about like people and life and community, what would that be?
To be an active participant.
Yeah.
Don't be a bystander, and realize that if you have a vision, you can take that wherever you want.
Right.
I bring them to I brought them to Chicago Council on Global Affairs events. We went to the Evanston History Center to hear Jenny Thompson talk about the takeover. I want them to know about the real of what's going on. I'm not one to tell them a lie just to make it easier on them. And sometimes I'm highly criticized by people about that. And sometimes. My wife and I may have differences of opinions on certain things, and she's right a lot. But
key to a happy marriage. Yeah, there you go.
But I think that it's important to not be naive, and
Right.
no matter how old you are, those kids are aware of what's going on, and if they have the knowledge, they can make the right decisions.
Well, and as you said, we live in a global world, a digital world,
Yes.
where things are coming across their plate at levels that we can't even understand when we were their ages, right? Because it was a totally different reality.
Totally different
So
reality.
the information is coming in, whether we try to control it or not. They're exposed to a lot, and so you're giving them tools to understand some of the things that they're seeing and hearing, it sounds like.
Right, and to determine what's real. And, one of the things I do is I have a newspaper come every day. We get the Wall Street Journal, and I think it's very comprehensive in the news coverage that they have.
Are they reading the Wall Street Journal yet?
No, I...
Is there a kid's version of that?
No.
Oh, wouldn't it be great if there was? Yeah.
But they look at the news articles on
They
the
do.
front page, and of what's going on, and
Exactly.
there's some difficult subjects sometimes that come on there, and some crazy pictures, but we can have that conversation at the table and have a safe conversation, a safe space for them to be able to discuss that and ask questions, not feel stupid or scared, and then they have a real good knowledge of what's taking place in the world, and they could operate within reality.
Exactly. Well, here is my last question of today, which is, how did this all start? Where did you get this from, this passion for building community? What's the origin story of that?
I don't know. I mean, it's. I think that working in real estate, it's. I work with a lot of different people.
Sure.
And
every day.
Every
right?
day, there's somebody new.
Yeah.
So many people are connected. And it's really interesting to look at those connections and how that all works. And I like being able to connect people for whatever they need, for networking or just friendship or whatever it may be. And I think that it's a fun thing for me to do.
Sure.
And I think that sharing those stories and doing the podcast is just that I've developed this passion by doing.
Right.
And I think that there's a lot of more things that can come out of it.
I know.
So, like, I've started doing some lunches. I did a lunch with people who've been on the show and facilitated by Lauren Grossman from across the table, and we talked about what does it mean to be a success, and with people that didn't know each other.
Right.
And it's a great way for people to connect, and I like that. I don't know. There's something fun with that. And even when I worked or when I was in college, I connected with a lot of different groups and a lot of different people. And when I worked for the real estate developer, it was a great way. I worked for my brother for many years at First Class Moving and Storage, and my job was business development and connecting with all these different people to get referrals for the business. So it's just something that comes naturally to me.
Right. And it gives you energy.
It totally gives me
obvious.
energy.
Yeah, it's obvious.
And I want to continue to share these stories. I mean, I think that there's different, media, I think what it does is it allows you to tell a story and to try to make change or whatever you want to do through your media. So by this show, I think it's connecting people. I think through the lunches, it's connecting people. I'm doing an event on February 8th where I am going to be.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's. I can't believe I'm doing. Again, it's like I pinch myself with this, but I'm going to be interviewing T.M. Garrett, who is a former neo-Nazi, who's now a human rights activist.
Wow.
And I'm co-hosting it at Industrious February 8th at 8 p.m. With the Simon Wiesenthal Center, and it's going to be great. I'm gonna have a conversation with him. We're gonna, it's a networking event for young professionals. It's $10. Anyone can come. There's information on my website, but it's I think it's important for people to know. People have different backgrounds. There's reasons why they act in certain ways, and there's reasons why, and people can change. And, we can find commonalities with each other, and we can learn from each other. So I think that's going to be a fascinating event. And I have some other ideas for things in the future, too, that I think will continue along with what I'm doing.
And so let's talk about, speaking of connecting, let's talk about all the ways people can connect with you. So how can people connect with you in terms of events in the community that you may be doing through Inside the Skev or otherwise? Would that be on your Facebook page or website?
I have many forms of media.
Exactly.
So my friends Jeremy and Henry and I joke around about our media because they have podcasts, and Jeremy's got a YouTube show and everything else. So
nice.
We compete with each other a little bit. It's funny.
How many likes do you have?
Yeah. But you could find me on first of all Skevanston.com.
Okay.
Or if you type in InsideTheSkev.com, you'll get there too.
Exactly.
That's a little secret. But I've got all the information there about me, about the podcast, about the events, and connections to social media over there, and also real estate. And then I've got all the links on there to, so basically I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't think I forgot anything there at Inside the Skev. Mm-hmm. I also have my own personal handle at Aaron Masliansky. I'm on LinkedIn. I have a real estate specific website called AaronMasliansky.com.
Right.
But it's you could find me in a lot of different places. But I'm always posting different things, new episodes. You could sign up for the newsletter on Skevanston.com. And of course, if you need help with real estate, I'm available and be happy to talk with you. And it's been getting pretty busy, so I'm
So
excited.
call him today.
Yes.
While he still has time available.
I'll definitely make time for real estate.
He will make
that,
time.
That actually pays the bills.
Here we go. Gotta
Yes.
eat.
Yes.
Eating is fun. But it all
Eating
ties.
is fun.
Eating is fabulous. I have a piece of coffee cake here that I'm about to jump into. I am super excited about everything that you're doing, and I think it has been wonderful for your faithful listeners to hear, like pull the curtain aside and hear about you, because every time you come on and provide the platform for your guests, and so I wanted to reciprocate and have an opportunity for everyone to learn about you and your background and your motivation and your intense drive and wonderful passion for doing what you do. So thanks for being a guest today on your own show.
Thank you, Victoria, and thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone, for listening to this latest episode of Inside the Skev. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to know more about the Skev and more about what I do as a real estate agent in the area, go to Skevanston.com. They got a lot of great information there about exciting guests that have been on the show, live events that are coming up, and any type of information that you're looking for. And if you have any suggestions or questions for me, feel free to email me at aaron@skevanston.com. Always happy to hear from people. And thanks so much for listening, and please subscribe.